conference in Utrecht for Food First. We're very glad to have Irene Visser, who is the director of the Netherlands Africa Business Council and NABC. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
We would like to get a bit your feeling about the day. How did you find the conference going, and do you think there's any improvement maybe to be made in the future for this coalition in Food First to work thinking forward?
Yeah, first of all, food security is a very big topic and it's not easy to solve. I think none of the people present today have the single solution to solve this problem, and I think it was quite made evident by a number of players today as well that the only way forward is to work together. So it's African governments, Western governments, it's producers of food, it's policy makers, and it's producers and suppliers of equipment and inputs to the food industry.
Your comment was very important. In general, in this type of conferences about farming, we had a good presence of farmers, including from Africa, but maybe we missed a bit the type of private sector that in the Netherlands is very important about facilitating trade, storage, logistics. So what can we make more interesting for the private sector to attend this type of multi-stakeholder engagement? How would you, in the way forward, try to engage them more?
No, absolutely. I think here in the Netherlands, we're obviously famous for a few agricultural industries. The Dutch, for decades already, have been very much into the dairy sector, the poultry sector, vegetable sector. And the secret to our success here in the Netherlands is that we not only have farmers, but we supply the entire value chain. So that means that we have producers of equipment, of different type of inputs as fertilizers, seeds, animal feed, etc. And I think that approach is very important to make it happening in the developing world as well. There are a lot of farmers. Of course they need training, and of course they need assistance, and of course they need an enabling environment. But I think a lot of institutes are active in that area as well. Access to finance, a very important other one as well. But there's a lot of specialty goods and inputs required as well, and I think the Dutch can really play a role here as well. We have facilitated programs in the poultry industry, for example in Ethiopia, and in the dairy industry in Kenya, where we brought SMEs from the Netherlands who are the suppliers of those inputs to those countries, and we see that there's a lot of enthusiasm to participate and to explore new markets, to be involved in programs where they also give something to society and invest in the training of local farmers. And these type of conferences, I think, should appeal much more to them. So maybe we could talk a little bit more about investment opportunities, about the size of the market, about shortages at present in those supply chains, and if we could map that to the specialties and the strengths of Dutch companies, I think we could play a role in making it happening as well. We spoke a lot about farming today, and we spoke a lot about the enabling environment, and as I said, these are very important factors, but just with farmers you're not going to make it, and food security is a huge problem, and it requires an integrated value chain approach.
And speaking, maybe my last question would be related to the issue of the size of the market. There is a lot of political rhetoric in Africa about strengthening regional integration, so regional markets, a bit like other regions, including Europe, have done in the past. Do you think that is an important element for example, a Dutch investor looking at investing in East Africa, if they could see that they would serve through their investment a whole region rather than one country? Would that be a stimulus?
No, absolutely. I think as regard to food crops versus export crops, I think there is an increased interest of Dutch private sector as well to invest and contribute to food crops. Domestic markets are growing everywhere in East Africa. I think specifically East Africa, they have done a lot of efforts to make doing business in the East African region easier in terms of products and labor and different inputs, goods crossing borders. So yes, it definitely makes sense, and I think local production for domestic markets, if you want to compete with the likes that at present export a lot of food products for very low prices to the world market, if you want to compete with those prices, your market must be regionally large, and I think inter-regional trade is really a key dimension to make that happen, yes.
Well, thank you very much, Irene. We do hope that going forward, NABC will get more and more involved, and the regional economic communities will get to know you more.
No,
in
absolutely.
The future.
Yeah, we are at
Cooperation.
present opening a Netherlands business hub in Nairobi
Nairobi.
with a view to support Dutch business interests in East Africa.
Okay.
And of course, agribusiness is one of the key areas of interest of the Dutch business community. So we hope to do more.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.